What up? It's Friday. The day is August the 4th, and TGIF indeed. Hey, like I always do, man, you know what I do is straight for me, straight to you. Without further ado, let's get into today's show. Let's do it.
Comment Check Entertainment.
Good morning. It's your boy Comet Chat, and hey, it is the fifth day, Friday. Friday the 4th, not Friday the 13th, but Friday the 4th, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and get into it, but before, in case you just don't know, this is actually, I'm in the live chat right now, so if you look down there, you see a live chat, you see my name, Comet Chat, I be typing stuff, so we can interact with each other, we can discuss what's going on right here now. I do this every Friday, so in case you just want to talk to me to say, hey, what's up, good morning, whatever the case may be, make sure you go ahead and contact me on the live chat. Now, today's word, as you can see, is fortitude. Boom. Fortitude is the word of the day. And hey, I'm just going to give you the definition like I always do. Fortitude is courage in pain or adversity. Having courage in extreme pain or extreme adversity, you're able to get through it and power through it. That is fortitude. The scripture for today for fortitude comes from the book of Deuteronomy, not from the book of Proverbs. How about that? The book of Deuteronomy, 31st chapter, 6th verse, it says, being strong and courageous, do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Let me say that one more time. It comes from the book of Deuteronomy, the 31st chapter, the 6th verse, it says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. And of course, our quote of the day. I love this. This is definitely a Dannyism. I'm going to put this on a T-shirt. Attitude with gratitude, supported by fortitude, will take you to the next altitude. I like that. Attitude with gratitude, supported by fortitude, will take you to the next altitude. So you always heard the word intestinal fortitude. That's like when you dig down. I went to boot camp many years ago in Marine Corps boot camp in Paris Island, South Carolina. I was 17 years old, 1988, and they take you there at nighttime, and you don't know nothing, man. All you just know is you're going there at nighttime, and when you get there, the bus stops you and put the brakes on. And you see the smoky coming by, and this Marine comes on the drill sergeant, and he gets on there and he just goes into his spiel. If you get here on boot camp, you better get off my island. You're going to see these yellow footprints. You better get off this bus. You got 30 seconds. Move it. And man, it is a shock. It is a culture shock because you're going from, oh boy, mom and daddy to somebody that don't give a you know what about you, and they are all up in your face. And it is definitely a culture shock. At that time, you're saying to yourself, I was like, man, I made a mistake. What am I doing here? I made a mistake. I made a serious mistake. I don't know what I'm doing here. But that's when I dig down. That's when I tapped into that fortitude, that intestinal fortitude, and I said, I'm not going to quit. I cannot quit. I cannot go back home and prove some of the people that said I couldn't make it wrong. And for 42 training days, that's all I did. Tap into that intestinal fortitude. There were days I wanted to quit. There were days when I wanted to say, this is enough. I don't need this. But that intestinal fortitude that burned in my belly, that grit, that thing. And there were days I was scared because I didn't know how to swim. That's one of my biggest problems. And you have to go through a particular swimming course. And they give you a particular number of times to pass. But if you don't pass, you go to what they call a swim platoon, where all you do all day long is swim. And it halts you right there. It stops you. You go no further until you complete that phase. So it's like 3 phases in boot camp. It's first phase, second phase, then you graduate. You graduate at the end of the 3rd phase. But in swim platoon, you stop. You go in swim platoon, you are stopping that training phase, and you cannot move and can continue on until you get past that. And I did not want to be stuck on that island in that water that I hated over and over and over. So the last possible day anyway, the last day, the last turn, the last possible time I could qualify and still stay with my original group and still complete the 42-day training cycle is when I qualified. And I put up such a prayer. I know the Lord answered my prayer because there was no other way but divine intervention that kept me afloat in that water for 5 minutes. I was able to swim to the edge of the pool, pull myself out, jump off the ledge, get up, pat the water, and make a makeshift life preserver, and get out of there. There's no other way besides divine intervention. I'm still not a strong swimmer today, but it was divine intervention. It was divine intervention. The Lord gave me intestinal fortitude because I was refused to quit. I was not going to be stuck in that place 1 second longer than I wanted to. Marine Corps boot camp is the toughest thing I've ever been through in my life. I've been to the academy, and the academy was tough, but it's nothing. It does not hold a candle to Marine Corps boot camp, because if you don't have intestinal fortitude, once you go there, it's gonna make you tap into it. If you're someone that doesn't want to quit, that you do it will not refuse to take no for an answer, boot camp. I can't speak for other services because I never been in the Army, I never been in the Navy, I never been in the Air Force, and I know sometimes I joke at them, but I'm assuming there's a certain level of intestinal fortitude that you have to dig down deep. But I know Marine Corps boot camp back in 1988 was not a joke. Yeah, I really tapped into it, and now in times of extreme stress, yeah, I can tap into that now because I have that background. I know if I can make it to that stuff, pretty much stuff that I face through now is a cakewalk. And it's something that everybody doesn't have it. Some people have more of it than others. But the fortitude is something that, first of all, it's okay to have intestinal fortitude, any kind of fortitude. But I'm going to harp on that is you can be scared, you just can't be terrified. It's all right to be scared, but it's not all right to be terrified. You have to control your fear, especially when you know that there's something, a job that has to be done, especially if there's some point in your life you want to do. It's okay to be scared. It's natural to be scared. You just can't let that fear turn into terror. You can't be terrified. You be terrified, you're going to be paralyzed. You're not going to do anything. You're going to fail. So you have to be able to control your level of fear to a controllable level where you can still function, you can still operate on a level that you can still get the job done. A lot of times that's why people aren't successful. A lot of times when people don't act because they don't have the fortitude, they let that fear turn to terror, and then terror totally paralyzes them. So one thing, it's okay to be scared. It's not okay to be terrified. So if you want to have intestinal fortitude, any kind of fortitude, remember that. Also, make promises to yourself. It's okay to make promises to yourself or promises to other people. But remember, that promise becomes a process. And sometimes people think the promise is more important than the process, but the Lord works in the process. If you promise yourself, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, I'm just going to use that. There's a process to that. And you have to ask the Lord, or you have to tap into fortitude to that process. You just ain't going to magically lose the 50 pounds. Okay, or you give somebody, let's say for instance, I'm perfect. I want to go on a cruise. Me and my wife want to go into a cruise next year to Alaska. So I'm promising, okay, we're going to go on this cruise. I made that promise. But there's a process. I have to do things. I have to set aside money. I have to work extra details. I have to do whatever I have to do. There's a process to that promise. A lot of times people focus, we as human beings focus on that promise, but don't realize that there's a process to a lot of these promises. And I was listening to T.D. Jakes yesterday on the way to work. He says God works more. Yeah, God promises you stuff if you follow Him and obey Him. But there's a process, and God works in the process, because by working in that process and asking God for help in that process, you develop a strong relationship. I think the fortitude that you get, it strengthens you. That process, not so much the promise. Yeah, it's good to keep your promises, but to every promise, there's a process. So make sure that you work hard and pay attention to the little details in the process of making that promise. You got to have faith. You have to have faith. You got to know that if I'm doing this, there may be things against me. There may be financial things. There may be people against me. There may be haters. There may be all this kind of crazy stuff. But you have to have faith. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith in God if you're a believer. If you're a non-believer, you better develop faith in God and just gotta be confident in yourself and just believe, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. You have to change your mindset. A lot of times why people fail and why people don't have fortitude is because of their mindset. That's too big for me. I can't do this. I can't do that. You got to change your mindset. If you're hanging around negative people, you're going to be negative. If you're hanging around people that are always saying you can't do that, or if you have an idea and every time you have an idea, people are throwing it up and shooting it like ski, then chances are you're not going to have a successful way. So you have to, if you want fortitude, you got to have to change your mindset. If you don't have it, or if you want more, you have to change your mindset. It's just not going to happen overnight. You got to have a mindset that says, look, I'm going to do this. You're going to have to read certain kind of books. You're going to have to be around certain kind of people. You're going to have to do certain kind of things. You're going to have to develop certain kind of habits that's going to prepare yourself and get you in the right mindset to have intestinal fortitude. It's never too late. Some people think, well, I'm too old. And I say this too, I'm too old to go to college. Well, it's not what I'm too old to go to college. I just don't want the debt. I'm just telling you that right now. And I think right now, in my particular phase in life, that I'm at the top, I'm close to the top of my food chain in my profession at my job. So I really don't want to go there because I don't think that it's going to enhance my financial where I'm at. I'm a year away from retiring. I can retire next year, next May, and I'm very comfortable where I'm at. And I've been doing this 28 years. Things happen. I'll do another 5 or 6 years. That'll be 30 years. I'll be 58 years old, and I think that I'm happy with that. So there's no need. It doesn't make any sense in my mind for me to go back and incur that debt to become more educated. Because right now I'm pretty successful where I'm at, and I'm making. Yeah, I'm not complaining with the money that I'm making now. My financial situation, it could be better. With education, enhance me overall as a person, make me a better version of Danny. Could help, most definitely. But I just don't want to incur that debt. So that's one reason why. But if I had the fortitude, if I want to go back, I have the intestinal fortitude to go back there. But make sure you're very decisive in what you want to do. That's when you tap into the intestinal fortitude, or that's when you have the courage to go through stuff. If I wanted to, I could. I know I could do it. I just don't have the, and that's one thing you got to make sure. If it's something you really want to do, or something you have to do, make sure that the want is just as strong as the have to. If it's the have to, then that's when you tap into the intestinal fortitude. If you gotta have it, that's when fortitude comes in. If you want it more, then you gotta have it. Then that's when you determine whether or not you really want to tap into that or not. Write down what you want to do. Write down. Steve Harvey said he does a vision board. He said Oprah Winfrey does a vision board, or they write down things they want to do. I did one yesterday in my office. Got taped on my door. I want to have my house paid off in the next 5 or 10 years. I want to be debt free in the next 5 or 10 years. I want this particular channel that I'm working on now to have a bunch of subscribers. I want it to have a certain number of subscribers by the end of the year. By next May, I want to have a certain number of subscribers, and I want to get one of those YouTube pins that I see a lot of people have on the back of the wall when they get 100,000 subscribers. I know it may sound like a big dream, but I think that I can do it. I believe that God will guide me in the way that I can do it, and that's what I want to do. So that's why I'm pouring my everything into this YouTube channel. I'm trying to make sure that I stay consistent. Like I said, like Denzel Washington says, consistency plus discipline equals success. So if I stay disciplined, do what I'm doing, stay consistent, I believe I'm going to have success. That's the formula to that. Faith without works, Steve Harvey says this, and this comes from the book of James, the 2nd chapter, 26th verse. Basically, it says faith without works is dead. So if you got faith, but you're not doing anything, you're not preparing yourself, then you're not going to get anything. And the actual scripture says, on that verse says, as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. So faith without works. If you don't do anything, yeah, I believe in God, and I want to do this, and I want to get there, and I want to have this, and I want to have that, but you're not doing anything, you're not preparing. And yeah, the last thing is prepare for God's blessing. If you want to grow crops, you just can't go out there and put the seed in the ground and not take care of it, and it's going to pop up. No, you got to go out there. You got to plant the rows, and like in tobacco, it's a very detailed process. You got to pick the plant, then plant the plant. Then you got to make sure once the plant's growing that you put fertilizer on the plant. And you got to make sure that you hold the grass from it, because the grass will overtake the plant at a certain size. And once you get a certain size, you have to deworm it, take worms off of it, or spray insecticides on it to kill the worms. You also have to pop off these things called suckers so it won't overtake the growth of the tobacco stock. And then you have to crop it. There's a lot of preparation to get it to the end product. When the end product is, once you string it, put it in the barn, you put the heat on it, and then it becomes golden brown, and that's when you take it to the tobacco auction and sell it. But it's to get from planting it, pulling the plants, to get it to auction, to get it sold, to take it to the plant to make tobacco, cigarettes, for that kind of stuff, tobacco, smoke, cigarettes, all that kind of stuff. To get to that process, you have to prepare it. It's a certain preparation. So if you don't go out there and do things and prepare for God's blessing, or prepare or yourself for God's blessing, or do things, and by, if you want to do something, become something, like I want this channel to become something, I have to put in the work. I got to get up here. I got to do my research. I got to actually film it. I got to actually edit. I actually got to upload it. And I got to pray to God. I pray every morning before I come on this show, Lord, let me be able to make sense to people. Please let me try to pronounce my words correctly, enunciate, so people can understand me. I do all that to try to prepare. Try to get my notes down here. I got my notes right here to make sure that I stay on track with what I'm trying to tell you and what I'm trying to reveal to you. And every day I try to research words and make sure I try to put certain situations to try to understand what you, and come from a metaphorically speaking point of view, to try to hammer home those points. So it's a whole different process. I know that if I keep doing it, and like I said, discipline plus consistency equals success. That's what I'm doing. Denzel Washington. I try to listen every day I'm going to work, and listen to stuff to try to broaden my information, try to broaden my, educate myself, try to elevate myself, to make sure when I bring to you, I come to you with the most polished product I can. And all that goes to, and I'll go back to the same word, it goes to fortitude. Fortitude, you have a test of fortitude. You got to have faith. All that works hand in hand. And also all the words that I've told y'all in the past, I try to make sure to incorporate them. I'm trying to stay motivated, trying to stay persevere, and I'm just trying to show you my points of view. That's one of the main things I'm telling you about. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to have this platform. And I'm just definitely just thankful for this whole process. Thankful for April 21st, 2023, whenever the Lord was able to save me. And just want to try to import you with the wisdom that the Lord has given to me. So, fortitude is the word of the day. I definitely hope that this message came across and that you got something from it. Just make sure when you're feeling down and you're feeling out, stay encouraged. Make sure that you stay around positive people. Make sure don't be terrified. It's okay to be scared. It's not okay to be terrified. So make sure that you just have the correct mindset to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And if this is your first time ever viewing my channel, please subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Please give me a thumbs up, hit the like button. Please leave a comment, and please watch this from beginning to end, because I definitely appreciate it. I'll be back Monday with a new word. Same time, same back channel. That word Monday morning will be conundrum. Ooh, this rolls off the tongue. Monday morning word would be conundrum. So definitely check that out. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you have a blessed weekend. And take it easy. See you later. Peace.